Nothing in this recording is intended as investment advice, and the people in this recording may hold positions in the companies they talk about. Do not make any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to Zak's Traders Cafe. Today I'm joined by a number of people. The first one is Peter Malmstrom, who's co-founder and head of M&A at Quantum Group. James Radford is CEO at Volopa, and Ali Al Bajarti, who is head of product at Volopa. And over the next few minutes, hopefully somebody will explain how all that works together with the different companies. But starting off with Peter, you're the co-founder of Quantum Group. Maybe you can tell us why you started it and what it is.
Yeah, morning, Zach. Well, Quantum is a fintech and security group. There is convergence in there, but we started out in the world of security that Floyd, my partner, and I are conversant with back in 2008. And in 2015, we acquired Volopa, which is an FCA-regulated company, and we joined the two together to form the Quantum Group back in 2016. Since that time, we've made further acquisitions, one in the world of security, Forensic Control, which is a fast-growing cybersecurity business. And on the fintech side, we've acquired Verve, formerly Tail, which is a cashback and rewards business. The company now sits as a consolidated group, and it's scaling towards a float, which we're identifying and targeting for Q3 2026. So exciting times for the group.
And these companies, I mean, are they linked in some way, or is it just a collection of things that you found attractive at the time and bought?
Well, certainly we found they were very attractive, which is why we bought them. And obviously the world of fintech is really leading the charge, particularly here in the UK with UK regulated fintech, which with companies like Revolut, trailblazing, is really a very attractive proposition for global investment. But they are standalone. They have their own autonomous management where we've been able to bring together highly experienced teams at subsidiary level. But then at group level, we're not just a consolidated or an aggregator. We have our own management and board sitting at group level, and latterly have put an advisory board together specifically for preparing the group to float. So we have an operational team, which James Radford heads up, which is driving our KPIs. And then separately, we have an IPO-focused team who are engaging with the city so that we don't fall into the trap of our management team getting absorbed with float matters and taking their eye off the KPIs.
And in terms of, we're maybe moving on to Volopa now. James, you're there. You've apparently got some decent experience in the space. Maybe you can tell us about that.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. I joined Volopa 2 months ago, but my background, 35 years in financial services. I did my growing up at American Express. I was there for 13 years, and I wheeled around some big companies, Citigroup, Lloyds, HBOS, and then realized actually my passion was for growth and smaller organizations. And I guess the three places that transformed that for me was, first of all, Aldermore Bank, which was one of the early fintechs, where I was the chief operating officer. The check clearing business where my team and I digitized the check industry. And most recently, I was the CEO of the UK division of Revolut, where I built the board and the team and put the wheels in motion for, first of all, the bank license, but secondly, seeing and helping that organization through its phenomenal growth while I was the CEO of the UK business for 3.5 years. I think for me, the thing I look for in a company and why I joined Volopa, there's three things really. One is, are the founders passionate about what they're doing and the idea they've got? And two is it a game-changing product? And Ali can talk about that. But my engagement with that, even before I joined, is absolutely it's a game-changing product. And thirdly, can I make a difference? And the way I like to make a difference is, can you focus the team? Can you drive them in the right direction and light a fire under the passion for actually getting across the line? So that's my history in financial services. I think if I was to point at the three things that I've done that I'm proudest of, one would be the digitization of the check industry. Second would be the American Express British Airways co-brand card that I built with my team. That's been a very successful product for Amex and remains so. And thirdly is the growth that we experienced and the team I put together at Revolut.
And moving on to Ali, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you fit into fit the pieces of the jigsaw together.
Yeah, sure. So I started off at, obviously my background is very much B2B payments background. I started off at JP Morgan where we built out the EMEA global mass pay product and moved on to American Express, similar to James, where we built the global pay product for the SME market. And quickly realized I need to be in a place that's close to the client feedback, that's agile to actually act on client feedback. And that's why I joined Volopa, and we've been since 2021 transforming the solution to be more of a platform-based solution. And the vision we have in place is to, with the target segment in mind, being the so established businesses, the companies with the professional finance function, is to effectively provide them with an all-in-one multi-currency payments, expense reporting, risk management solution, all in one. And we see that in the market, some fintechs do very well for a subset of those products and solutions. And the banks do have a great sort of legacy banking product, but there isn't anything that bridges that gap. And that's where Developer comes in, where we're effectively providing the cutting edge, the next generation technology that combines all these solutions, but we're putting a mature angle to it, where we've got proactive, deliberate human customer service and relationship management. So we know that for the micro businesses, the small businesses, it's fintech digital first and digital only in many cases. But when you get to the larger businesses who deal traditionally with the banks, it's more sort of old school relationship management, and we're effectively plugging that gap in the middle. And we see great success winning these established businesses over from fintech competitors, but also from the legacy banking providers as well.
Right, now the big question, lots of fintech companies out there. Obviously, you've all told us about your CV, with sort of overachievement all over the place, which is very nice. But in terms of the stock market, which you're heading for perhaps next year, how can investors or people looking at you sort of tell whether you're the real deal and you'll succeed, whereas other fintechs who talk the talk and walk the walk, or apparently do, will not succeed? And there's management, there's finance, how much money you've got in the bank. You mentioned Revolut. I mean, that was it wasn't exactly a smooth ride, all the way. I mean, people wanted it to win, but it didn't. It had lots of battles to get to become the giant it is now. So, how do people know that Quantum Group and Volopa are going to succeed, where maybe many other fintechs might not, especially in the UK?
Okay, well, I think in terms of the trajectory of the group, I mean, look, Ali and James are just examples of the world-class team that we've managed to establish. And if you look at our website, which is quantumgroup.uk, you'll be able to see the depth and breadth of management, not just within Quantum, but driving all of the subsidiaries. Quantum takes the heavy lifting. We raise the funding that enables the subsidiary groups to just focus on scaling the business. And I think that has been one of the key reasons why Quantum has been so successful, and why the stock exchange in particular are looking at Quantum as being really something that they're looking to help and support be a really successful float in London. And London needs some big successes, and they firmly believe that Quantum will be one of those. Given our history, given our constant growth, and given our trajectory. So in terms of what makes us different, I mean, Volopa really is, if you like, a B2B service platform where we get virtually zero client attrition, because it is remarkably well tuned to our clients' daily life. And in terms of scalability and best of breed, I mean, it's attracting clients like Aston Martin, Formula One. The guys have just signed up Newcastle United. It's particularly well suited to high movement businesses. So air transport, companies like Airex, which is a private jet firm, is a big client. This product transformed their life. It not only saved them time, but saved them money. And the full API connectivity of the platform means that it reports real time straight into their accounting packages. And the guys have established API connectivity with all of the leading account software packages. So it really is providing absolute ease of use and significant cost savings for our customers. And that, I suppose, is one of the main differences. combined with old school customer service, which of course is a real USP, given the lack of customer service we're seeing from the main banks, and of course the AI service that our digital competitors are trying to deliver customer service with, which we don't think is mature enough. When you're in business, you want to talk to real people, and when you have an issue, you don't want to be stuck in a chat room talking to a robot, trying to persuade that robot that you're not the robot.
So you've got the offering seems to be solid on many fronts, and you've got great counterparties that you're dealing with, so that's fine. Is there a sort of a hockey stick moment in terms of your KPIs or your revenues or your profits, or when will you get to sort of cruising altitude, be above the clouds, and not be a growth situation, but actually a sort of a revenue or a profitable situation?
Well, the growth is pretty spectacular. The guys reported me that they saw a 16% increase in revenues in March alone. Certainly, having established what is undoubtedly a world-class product, I don't think they've ever lost a head-to-head with either Pleo or Revolut, who are active in this space. It really shows the growth potential. So the platform is in place, the team is in place, and now it's all about scale. And that is why we brought James Radford in, who is absolutely all about scale. So James, maybe you can touch on your focus.
Yeah, my focus is about getting the team fishing in the right ponds, and whilst they've been doing that to a degree, actually it's about real myopic focus. But the main point here for me is the market is huge and growing quickly. I can go into the trillions of pounds that are in that upper mid-market SME space, growing quick as businesses look to expand into Europe and further worldwide. So one, the market is huge and growing, but two, the competition is really focused on the very bottom end of SMEs, which is more a retail product. And this is where Peter was saying about AI, trying to solve a corporate product problem with a retail solution, which is chat to the robots. So actually where we're fishing in this big pond that's growing very quickly, we have a product that doesn't have many competitors. And therefore, actually, this is ripe for disruption. And so a focused sales team that's growing itself, aiming into a pool that's growing into a very focused way of selling with an intuitive product with great customer services, actually has a huge opportunity for growth.
Right. So to summarize, you're a growing situation, and you've reached a certain level of momentum. You've got the team. You're heading for the stock market, and potentially one would hope that you would be a unicorn and that have that kind of valuation. If people like what they have seen and what they're hearing, what can they do? Can they get involved? What's the story there?
Yeah, I mean, we are actually live in the secondary market. We have Crest and ISIN as a stepping stone towards float. London Stock Exchange are wooing us towards a main board listing. As I said, that is targeted for Q3 2026. In terms of our stock price, we're currently trading at £22 and live on that platform. Our new issued share price is slightly higher at 24. And there's been a recent report and valuation done, which is up on the London Stock Exchange website, which suggests that the company now is worth around about 400 million. Certainly in terms of the funding that we've raised to build the group to date, it's a little over 50 million. We're looking for final stage funding, and actually we raise funding for specific purposes, and that is why we have been solely privately funded since inception. We have 3 key family offices, about 200 private high net worth individuals, and we have the UK government on board, who came in through the Future Fund initiative. So we, as a group, report to both the British Business Bank and the FCA quarterly. We've maintained capital adequacy for the FCA for over a decade now. So I'd like to think that it's a solid proposition. You certainly see some fairly spectacular growth driven by the individuals that you're seeing here and that you'll see right across the group. And in terms of opportunity, certainly we're looking for a final private placement before we scale towards the IPO. And that final private placement will be focused specifically on the JV that we have with Easy Group. Stelios are well known, and obviously building a product that we think will be well suited for EasyJet. So we're looking for final stage funding, which I'm happy to discuss privately, Zach. But in terms of the trajectory, I think it's an interesting opportunity. And as I said, certainly based on the growth that we are currently experiencing, the trajectory suggests that we should be a unicorn, which of course is very exciting for the group. But we've got to remain focused.
Peter, Ali, and James, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you very much.